Hello, I'm Wickid the Alien, and this is.
The Ducky Gwen. Tonight we're going to talk about the topic of mental health, and then we are going to discuss briefly my most recent obsession, Peter Gabriel, as well as other stuff as usual, but that's beside the point.
And we're talking about squirrels, and we're not talking about the rodent, we're talking about brain.
That's correct.
Okay, so mental health is something that's very important, and it should be very important to a lot of people, but it isn't to most people because of ignorance or otherwise. Um,
Right.
and they think sometimes, and I don't want to discredit medication, but sometimes it's not always a go-to thing sometimes because it can give you like Parkinson's and other nasty stuff.
In other words, side effects.
Yeah, them the words. So what I do usually is I read or I write or I draw or I do my tongue drum or my hand pan whenever it's coming. Also, I do a lot of stargazing when I can. If I'm out for a drive, I'll try to find the Big Dipper,
All
stuff
right.
like that. But I also talk my, I say what's on my mind, and I give people not aggressively a piece of my mind, but you know what I mean. Like I tell them how I'm feeling at the moment.
Yes.
That's important to do is to talk. It's important to do creative things. Also, crystals are very good for you as well. Don't swallow those.
They are not
No,
for eating. Absolutely not. Like in
that's
some
the
episodes
pill.
of My Strange Addiction where this lady literally ate rocks for who knows how many years. Yeah, don't do that.
Oh,
That
that's pica. That's an eating disorder called pica.
mm-hmm. It's when you eat things that you're not supposed to, basically. Objects that are obviously not food.
Like a tongue drum.
Right. Pica is definitely not just an eating disorder, but also a mental disorder because
Yeah.
it stems from traumatic experiences, and
Mm.
you know what trauma does to mental health, really.
Yeah, I know what it does. I've lived it.
Believe it or
Also,
not, so have I.
you too?
Yes, and it's in the form of the big A, and it's something I had for the majority of my life, as I discussed in one of our previous episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm on the spectrum too. When I was 11, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And when I was 13, it was at the spectrum. And then when I was 21 or 19, I can't really remember the year, but it was that around that area where I ended up being told I had PTSD, which is a fact.
Yes. And a friend once told me that those on the ASD spectrum have comorbid conditions, such as ADHD and PTSD, like we just talked about just now. And
Yeah,
man,
I have I have that. But anyways, there's other conditions like have you ever heard of the Truman Show syndrome? Honestly, there's a mental illness called the Truman Show syndrome.
I've heard of the movie, but I was not
It's
aware of
basically
a syndrome associated with it until just now.
yes, it's basically if you've seen the movie The Truman Show, then you know that it's an actual mental health illness and
Yeah,
a very powerful one at that, where one guy stabbed his father and sister to death, unfortunately.
that
Thank
is
God he
tragic.
got the help he needed afterwards, but it was kind of too late, too late.
Damn.
Basically, everything stems from anxiety, and I can attest to that. And
Yeah.
all delusions are from simple anxiety, like, oh, I don't want to get up in the morning. Oh, fidget, I have to clean the toilet. And then you blows up into anxiety. And then it can blow up into other things like delusions and psychosis if you don't tap into it quickly enough. This is why I always keep my friend, the Apple Pencil, with me at all times, a book, writing apps, my
Yes.
phone, iPad, and everything else I can do creative. Because I find if I create something like a cryptid monster, just like something like Siren Head, for example, I can actually feel better making that monster on drawing, and then I can actually say, "Thank God that's over with."
Yes. That is exactly right. I actually also have a photo editing app on my tablet, so I can make photo edits.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I have Pixar. I use that
So do
sometimes for my
I.
cover art. That the one you're talking about?
Pixar, yes. That's the one I talk about. Fun
I
fact,
love.
yes, fun fact, Pixar was originally called Pixin, and then sometime around late 2011 to early 2012, they changed the name to what is currently known as Pixar. And back when it was Pixin, there were not as much options as there are now.
I
And
remember
man,
that.
I was in high school, man, when I first used that app. Though I did not start cropping until around 2015. I started photo editing in 2010 when I was a sophomore in high school on an old iPod Touch. And
Me
yes,
too.
you had an iPod Touch too.
Yes.
Honestly, I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, it was
Yes.
2010 after all, and
So
the year before Steve Jobs died from cancer, but that's beside the point. Which leads to my own personal anecdote on this topic. I don't remember if I told y'all this in an earlier video, but that iPod Touch would eventually get stolen not too long before the end of my senior year. And the fallout from that would take a dip on my mental health for the remainder of that year. This is why you never ever ever trust someone you just met with your personal belongings, especially those that are of value, even if it's on a school bus. Yes, I said it right here, folks, on a school bus. That's where that incident occurred. Talk about lesson learned.
anyways, so creative things, writing, music, drawing, creating monsters, like let's say creating Siren Head or making an urban myth, for example, a fictional urban myth can actually help you feel better if you just write it down. Like a creepy pasta. Those I find help me with my mental health. I also do take my medication.
What type of medication do you take? What's the name of it?
There's a medley. I know one of them is Prozac, fluoxetine
Yes, Prozac.
or Prozac and Abilify,
Yeah,
and that's
well,
about the
yeah,
extent of the poppy field I know
yeah.
of.
Just want to make it clear, Prozac isn't for everybody. I have heard that one of the side effects of Prozac is that it apparently worsens depression and leads to suicide in people younger than 18, from what I know of. But other than that, if used
I
responsibly,
took
it
it
can
when I
also
was
help.
over. I took it when I was the age of 17 until, so I was just on the border of 18, so I was safe from anything.
That's good.
I never liked suicide. I don't like the idea of it. Also, what are if you have any of the signs, like you're giving away your precious objects? finally have a burst of energy when you are starting to get out of a depression, freakishly get out of a depression. Like if you just one day you were depressed and the next minute you're bouncy and stuff like that. And if you keep saying I'm fed up, I'm pissed off, I'm angry and stuff like that, and saying I'm gonna kill myself and stuff like that, that's a sign that someone might do something or turn it into themselves.
That's why it's important that loved ones need to pay attention to the signs that their loved ones are affected by depression and, most importantly, any type of suicidal ideation that they may exhibit, because you never know when they are actually going to, do it. So it's important to be there at all times. And if there are any weapons nearby, please, for the love of Pete, hide them so they can't easily access them. Because, like I said, you never really know what could happen.
Yes, that's true.
Better safe than
Oh,
sorry.
better safe than sorry, and use
So
your
you
mouth.
spare your grief. Yes, and use your mouth.
Talk, talk, talk. Always talk is important. I feel like this. I'm and just let it out controlled wise. Also, there's another thing that people might have that is OCD,
Yes.
obsessive compulsive disorder, where you have a ritualized life. You have to have everything. No offense. I have it too, don't worry. Where you have to have everything in the right order and stuff. Where if it doesn't go your way, it sometimes kicks your day off in the wrong direction.
And it could
I think that's a
sometimes cause anger issues. Yeah,
yeah.
because,
That's what I meant. That's what I meant
yeah.
is that it'll make your day a hell of a lot worse.
A form of OCD that a sibling of mine has is known as misophobia, otherwise known as germophobia. It's basically a fear of germs. So basically, whenever they touch a germy area, they have to wash their hands immediately. Something like that.
Oh,
Though they do so repetitively.
that must be asinine.
Yeah, absolutely. Howie Mandel, a famous person, also has that same form of OCD.
Germophobia?
Germophobia, yes. And from what
And
I've
what
heard,
is.
he shaved his head because of it,
Oh, I
because he
just saved my
doesn't
head
want to.
because it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, it
It
was
does. It has
such
nothing to
a.
do with germs. You know what I mean? I just shaved my head because it's a lot easier on me.
Believe it or not, it is on Howie Mandel too. Just because he doesn't want to have to shampoo and condition his hair every single day, from what I've heard many, many years ago.
Well,
And
you
then,
kind of start
yes.
to do that when you are bald, because the skin needs that nourishment.
Yeah, skin needs nourishment indeed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because the skin is a precious organ because it's the only
It
exposed
kill.
organ.
It's the only thing that'll defend us from the little bastards, also known as germs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
But if you,
a germaphobe, but I just call them little bastards because when they get
yeah.
into you, you're kind of sick.
Another form of OCD that's out there is the type of OCD that I have, which is known as trichotillomania, which is the urge to pull out bodily hair, which in my own case includes my eyebrows, eyelashes, my fringe area, as well as the parts that I won't go into detail about, but you get the idea. But most cases I see of trichotillomania in general include the pulling out of the entirety of head hair. I did briefly touch on this a few episodes back, but I wanted to go a little bit more in depth. Now back to the video.
Also, what is the nyctophobia? I think I heard that term is fear of the dark, which I have. If you've ever seen me on other video chats or on my other YouTubes, you would see that I have a nightlight.
Nightlights are cool, actually. I actually do own some of them, actually. One of them, believe it or not, is in the form of an old phone charger. That charger
Oh,
stopped charging my
cool.
phone, but when I cut off the cord from it, the light portion of that plug still works, ironically. So
Oh,
I
interesting.
occasionally use it as a nightlight to give it that, you know, feel.
That's cool. Also, here's the real poo poo. The
What is
people
it?
like junk psychiatrists and junk psychologists and some parents think that the goth community or the spooky kids are a bad
Oh
influence.
boy.
Yeah,
Oh
and I'm
boy.
like, you've got to be flipping kidding me. Trying to keep my language clean. And they say goths are bad, spooky kids are worse. And
Lord.
I just think it's a pile of because I'm not ACAB. I'm not into violence or anything. I'm a spooky kid. I listen to Marilyn Manson. I found that he helped me with my mental health, even though he was a pretty disturbed guy on his own.
Yeah. Separate
Music
art
is
from the artist. Yeah. You got that one Daily Mail article from 2006 about the emo community being quote unquote part of a cult, if you will. Yeah, you
a
got that article
cult.
to thank for that. Yeah, yep,
Oh, for fidget sakes.
yes.
That's just ridiculous.
Specifically, a young member of the emo community who also happened to be part of the MCR fandom took her own life, and her parents, in their grief-stricken state, blamed the subculture for her death, which all started this mess.
They just like to get everyone who's a
Yeah,
little off color with
yes,
their makeup or their hair or their
yes,
damn clothing. I happen to be a little off color on all fronts. And
yeah,
I despise these stereotypes. I really do.
yeah. And everything became a big heaping pile of garbage from that point. So you got Daily Mail to thank for that. Though I
Daily
still,
Mail, oh, I got a middle
yeah,
finger for them.
yeah, exactly.
Also, I find I there's a few bad apples, that
Mm-hmm.
even in the mental health community, I might just say there's psychopaths. There's also psychopaths in the goth community as well, and some of the and we shouldn't judge everybody on the goth psychopaths. Now, the psychopaths are people that
Uh-huh.
are probably dead inside. They have no emotions, they have no remorse, no empathy, no feeling, desire. Maybe they might have that. They're of the dark triad, which is, I'll show you. The dark triad, which is narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Those are the three biggies.
Yes. Important thing to note is that it was because of bad apples like that articles like that one from Daily Mail get into circulation and turn a population against the majority of a population within a subculture that are otherwise harmless.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it all
that's
this
just ridiculous.
yeah, that 2006 article totally, ruined everything. As they say, all it takes is one bad apple to spoil a whole bunch.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anyway,
I define certain obsessions as the unhealthy obsessions. And then there's the
yes.
kind of obsessions like you have with music, which are I call happy obsessions.
Better the happy obsessions than the dark and depressing obsessions.
And where you're going to lead to stalking and
Yes.
whatever else goes through someone's tree rodent in their head. It's very
Yeah.
important that these things all stem from one thing I find. I think it's either trauma or anxiety
That
and
sounds
stress.
about right. Yes. I know that all too well. Really.
Yes, me too. And I find if you decide to nip it in the bud, it's a lot easier.
Yes. But still, speaking of bad apples from earlier, even those in the music community can have harbor those dark obsessions. Not just the music community,
Yes,
but in the entertainment community. Unfortunately, there are bits of examples where a lot of famous people got killed off by obsessive stalkers. For example, Christina
oh yeah,
Grimmie, who was the winner of the sixth season of The Voice, she was murdered by a crazed fan on stage in Florida,
I'd say more
right around
than
the time the Orlando killings happened. And then there's Rebecca Schaeffer, an actress from My
yeah,
Sister Sam, who was also killed by a crazy obsessed stalker fan. Because, well, basically, you just gotta be careful around those people, especially if you're in a high profile field such as music and other forms of entertainment. Yeah.
yeah.
The more
Those are
exposure you get, the more danger you put yourself in. So
yes,
you
that's
gotta take
true.
precautions. Absolutely take precautions. Security guards,
Even if you're
then,
not high profile, I find some people get stalked. We're just normal
yes.
people because the other person's a complete nitwit. Abusive,
Yes.
crazed erotomania, which is like you
Ugh.
think someone loves you. You think someone loves you. That's what it's basically is.
Yes!
What
Holy crap, that sounds just about right. That's
that is.
definitely the word for it, for sure. Like, for
What
real.
lust?
Yes, lust. That was
Yeah,
what
because
factored into the killings of both Christina Grimmie and Rebecca Schaeffer. Yes, that explains a lot, folks. We know.
erotomania, erotomania, and I will look
Erotomania.
that up. Or
Yeah.
hopefully, I don't get
Erotomania.
any dirty pictures. I'm gonna.
Yes. Yeah, those delusional nitwits may think that they genuinely love their favorite celebrity, but they really don't. It's just nothing more than their erotomania playing with their mind. It's sickening. Like,
Yep.
come on. No wonder a lot of celebrities don't ever go out of their way to interact with their fans for the most part. It's because of people like this.
Yeah, it's not fair for the singer people and
Yes. Come on,
singer people of the.
us sane people want to have fun. This is why gatekeeping exists, ladies and gentlemen. It's to keep
Gatekeeping.
people like this out of these type of communities.
More
So
than
we, they don't want to be spoiled by bad apples like this. Come on. Oh
I
goodness, I'm going off on
understand
a
that.
tangent.
I
Mhm.
understand that I've had a few stalkers a couple of times, and I'm small fish.
Yes. Small fish, big fish, whatever. Always keep your hand at the level of your eyes. I just quoted Phantom of the Opera right there.
Cool.
Yes, the 2004 movie.
I love
Uh,
Phantom of the Opera. I think that
yes.
was also a case of that word.
Okay.
erotomania.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't be creeping up on that girl if, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, but if he's not creeping up the girl, it's not erotomania.
Right. But come to think of it now that you mentioned it, it did seem like a mild case of erotomania.
Yep, there's some that are just completely through the moon.
Wacky in the head,
So,
if you will.
yeah. Also, I find a lot of interesting tidbits on Criminal Minds. That's a very good show. If
I
you want to
agree.
learn more about the microcosms of the brain,
Yes.
who
You
serial killers and such.
know, crime procedurals, while they are not educational by societal standards, you could get quite the education about the nature of the human mind out of these shows. It's no
Yes,
wonder that people like me and you are addicted to these type of shows. 'Cause
I like the courtroom scenes.
always fun, with all the drama, seeing the people scream at criminals in the courtroom, the confrontation,
I just
and
like seeing the lawyers get go at it.
yeah, it's insanity, I tell ya.
Yeah, I like learning about law too.
Yeah, learning about law is good.
Okay, your happy obsession.
Yes, my happy obsession obviously is music. Speaking of
Yes, that's
which,
mine too.
my latest obsession happens to be that of Peter Gabriel. For those that don't know, Peter Gabriel used to be the lead singer of Genesis from 1967 up until 1975.
Interesting.
Yeah, one of his most famous
Oh,
songs is called Salisbury Hill, which I absolutely love. I listened to that song religiously back when I was in senior year of high school. Because let's face it, it had such a weirdly unique vibe to it. And in general, I just found it to be very soothing out of all the songs that I listened to in high school. In hindsight, this might have been my first genuine Peter Gabriel arc, come to think of it. Fun fact, Peter Gabriel was in his late 20s when he released this song. Granted, the song came out in the late 70s, but there was no music video for it until the 1990s.
my happy obsession in music is the Gorillas. You know them,
Yes.
right?
I was a huge fan of them back in high school. Are you kidding me? I had their album Plastic Beach downloaded to my old iPod Touch as well as my mom's older iPhone.
I also had all their albums on the iPhone Touch. Ugh. I like their song. Sorry to twist this. I'm not trying to be Machiavellian. We're talking about happy obsessions now. Their song, Clint Eastwood, is always one that I can relate to because, like, I'm not glad,
Yes.
but I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm alive, but I'm feeling good.
No, no, the
Kind of
lyrics
stuff.
are I'm happy, I'm feeling glad, I got sunshine in a
In
bag,
a
I'm
bag.
useless, but not for long, the future is coming on. I actually have that quoted in my high school yearbook. Yeah, it's under my own senior picture. Anyway,
That's
then
my
there's
quote of my
other
life,
songs.
too. Anyways, your Peter Gabriel.
Peter Gabriel, well, I'm still starting out on the binge, so I'm fairly new to the fandom. But so far, His voice is like butter. And I'm talking his speaking voice, you know. But one of my favorite songs besides Salisbury Hill is Red Rain, which I also had on my iPod and old iPhone. And
Cool.
I also listened to repeatedly. It's more appropriate for a rainy day, though the rain does not come down red, but I'm pretty sure that's a symbolic reference, meaning blood, but I cannot 100% confirm that. Something interesting I just found out. Apparently, the lyrics directly reference a recurring dream Peter Gabriel was having where he swam in his backyard pool drinking cold red wine. Another version of the dream had bottles in the shape of people falling from a cliff. And it's from a Wikipedia excerpt of all things. Just thought I'd point that out. But anyway, I like to listen to that song in the rain, or if I'm inside in the rain, if you will. Because
Yeah.
rainy weather fits the tone of the song very well. And
What's it like, the video?
basically, Peter Gabriel is set to a backdrop of cloudy weather, if you will. I can't really describe it all that well. So,
That's
you'll have to watch it for yourself just to get the idea. Probably explain it better than I can. And then there's Sledgehammer. That's his most well known song. It's off of his album So. God, that video is trippy in of itself. Like, there's a lot of claymation and a lot of dancing, stop motion, all that stuff. Whew. Like,
yeah, that is good. Another happy obsession of mine is well, don't know if you like hip hop, but I like Missy Elliott.
well, Missy Elliott's good.
Oh,
She really
she's
is.
the bomb.
Yeah. I'm not that big on her, but I actually like her personality, really.
I like everything about her. She's just great.
I can't stand the rain. And then she raps over
God,
that
get your freaking
sample.
on. God, get your freaking on. God, get your freaking.
Yes.
That's the one that got me into that.
Yes.
Yeah, is got get your freak on. Get your freak on. Get your
Yes.
freak
Get
on.
your freak on. Get your freak on. My other happy obsession has to be Kim Wilde,
Come
basically,
on.
whom a friend of mine considers the British Madonna, but yeah, Kim Wilde's nothing like
How do you
Madonna.
spell her name? Just wondering.
Okay, so it is Kim. Okay, that's her first name, and then her last name is Wilde.
Okay,
Keyword
thank you.
E. Fun fact, my art teacher once spelled her last name as Wild because, to be fair, she didn't know who Kim Wilde was prior to me mentioning her, and I quickly had to correct her, saying, "Hey, her last name has an E in it." I don't
Hey,
remember what the
I
assignment
got
was.
her on my Spotify.
Oh, nice.
Come on. Sounds interesting.
Yes, she is absolutely talented. I've been into her since high school. First introduction to her, believe it or not, was through Len's cover of her song Kids in America. Len was a band known for their hit Steal My Sunshine. The video for their cover was featured in uh, the end of the Digimon movie if you have the VHS for it. It's
I didn't know
it's amazing.
Digimon had a movie.
Yes, there's Digimon the movie. Came out in I believe around either 2000 or 2001.
Oh, I was too busy being a teenager at that time.
I was only like around 6 or 7 years old. I was like first or second grade.
I remember Digimon. I know that.
You need to watch the movie, man. You need to watch it. I know I need to watch it too,
Okay,
as it's been a while. But yeah, I have it among my collection of other VHSs up there.
cool. I just have the Alien Autopsy as my go-to VHS.
Oh, you have Alien Autopsy, as in the band, right? Or the movie?
The actual documentary of the Alien Autopsy.
Oh, okay. Cool. Really. I have
Mhm.
yet to learn more about that.
Okay, that's good. Okay, I'm thinking we're just going to go with usual, the hit the bell and stuff.
Yes, that's all the time we have, folks. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video. I
Do you
just,
want to talk about ghosts on Thursday? Ugh.
yes, I would like to talk about ghosts on Thursday. Okay. Oh, and one more thing. Guys, please be sure to check out Wickid's new channel, The Peaceful Spooky Kid. The stuff on there is great. Please, if you want to hear more about the diverse experiences of someone in the goth or emo or any other alternative community, please go to that channel. I promise you, you won't regret it. Okay? Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, you have a lovely night, folks. Bye!
Bye.